Good afternoon, everyone. I hope maximum people have joined so we can start. Uh, Hope everyone is sound and safe at these times. And we are here to discuss mechanics of question paper setting for physiotherapy teachers by Bhavna Matre, Madam. I would introduce first IEPWC. I am a district coordinator of Chandrapur of IEPWC. IPWC was started on 30th May 2018. It functions under the guidance of National Head Dr. Ruchi Varshine and IIP President Dr. Sanjeev Jha. IIP works toward conducting public awareness camp, CME, workshops. It aims at bringing together all professionals for sharing knowledge and improving public awareness about physiotherapy. We have 5 zones in India with head for each. Dr. Pooja Kamble is the West Zone head. The state team of IPWC Maharashtra includes State Coordinator Dr. Suvarna Ganveer Ma'am. She is also moderator for the session. Joint Coordinator Dr. Snehal Patel Ma'am and Sub-Coordinators Dr. Uttara Mohan, Dr. Priya Karande, and Dr. Nirali Sanghvi. In Maharashtra, IPWC has conducted 40 plus low-cost activities in various districts, and in first corporate IIP conference held in Indore, April 2019, Maharashtra state received award for Best State IIPWC. In Chandrapur, I am the district coordinator. Dr. Faria Khan and Dr. Ashwini Zulme are the sub-coordinators. Now, I will give brief intro of Bhavna Matre ma'am. Bhavna Matre ma'am is a MSc Physical Therapy from Mumbai University. She is a faculty and professor at St. J.S. Medical College, Bombay since 38 years. She is invited here to enlighten about the topic mechanics of question paper setting for physiotherapy teachers. She was executive member for MUHS UG PG Board, Bombay branch of IAP, executive member for Research Society KM Hospital and Resource at Teaching Technology, Maharashtra University of Health Sciences, Nashik. She has also published various articles in Mulligan technique and other subjects of musculoskeletal science. She is an inspiration for empowerment of women for physiotherapy. Her specialty is promotion of musculoskeletal health, prevention and treatment of movement dysfunction due to various pathologies or pathomechanics of musculoskeletal system. She has also achieved Certificate of Appreciation for enhancing the level of physiotherapy in India by Capri Institute of Manual Therapy, Indian chapter and Mumbai branch of Indian Association of Physiotherapy. I invite Bhavna Matre ma'am to please start the presentation, and this presentation will be moderated by Dr. Suvarna Ganveer madam, PhD professor and HOD of Neurophysiotherapy Department of DVPF's College. I invite Dr. Fariha ma'am to kindly introduce Suvarna Ganveer madam, a small brief introduction, and we will start the webinar. Welcome ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Neha. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Fariha Khan. I'm sub-coordinator IIPWC, and I'm extremely honored to introduce Dr. Suvarna Ganveer ma'am, our moderator. She's a very dignified and knowledgeable teacher and guide. Dr. Mrs. Suvarna Ganveer ma'am is the state coordinator of IIPWC Women's Cell, Maharashtra. Welcome, ma'am. Ma'am believes in contributing to the continuous development to the field of physiotherapy in every aspect, and we can see the glance in her work and achievements and her progress. Madam has done her bachelor's and Masters in Neurophysiotherapy from Nagpur University. She has done her postgraduate diploma in rehabilitation from Mumbai, along with her postgraduate diploma in Public Health Foundation from New Delhi. Madam is a member of undergraduate and postgraduate board of studies at MUHS Nasik and various other memberships in the field of research and board of studies to her credit. She has a 20-year experience towards working in the field of academics and clinical aspects. She is presently working as a professor and HOD at the Department of Neurophysiotherapy, DVBPF College of Medicine. I welcome you, ma'am, to this webinar. And now, Neha, can you continue?
Yes, ma'am. I invite Bhavna madam to please share her presentation.
Can you see my presentation now?
Yes, madam, it is visible. You can start.
Okay, can I start?
Visible. Yeah,
Yes.
you can start.
Good afternoon, everybody. Before I begin, I would like to congratulate Swarna and her entire team of WCIAP doing such wonderful activities. And I also thank them for allowing me to come and share my knowledge on this topic of mechanics of paper setting. This topic actually we have been discussing ever since we were in the last board of studies. Before that, I don't know whether Dr. Ashok sir is there on this lecture session, but we have been discussing that we need to get some lecture on this topic ever since 2011. Okay, so it's taken 9 years, better late than never. So I really thank Swarna to give this opportunity and share my knowledge. Before I begin, I cannot begin any lecture without expressing my gratitude to all my teachers, Ms. Dastur, Ms. Kapadia, late Professor Shahani, Professor Bharti Pinare, our ex-dean, Utokshi writer, present dean, Rajesh Naik madam, my HOD is Amita Mehta, present HOD is Saraswati Iyer, Deans and Director of our institute, Dr. Nilima Shilsagar, Dr. O, Dr. Supe, Dr. Hemant Deshmukh, who is our present dean, the entire senior faculty, and faculty, all my friends and well-wishers, my late parents. It would be unfair if I don't say my husband's name Suhas. My son's name Siddesh, who have always supported me for all these activities. What I am going to do, am I audible? What I'm going to do today is just going to add finish. Huh?
Ma'am, can you repeat? I think I think the network is lost. We can't hear you. Can you repeat what you said earlier?
Okay, what I started with,
Yeah.
what did you hear anything or you didn't hear anything?
You just start before the 1 or 2 line, I guess. It's missed, I guess.
Okay. Okay, so first I said I started off with congratulating Suvarna and her entire team of WCIAP for doing this wonderful activity and also giving me an opportunity to share this knowledge of mine with you all. And this topic, we have been discussing, what I want to emphasize here is we have been discussing when I and Suvarna together, we were in the Board of Studies, and also with Dr. Ashok sir, ever since 2011. Better late than never, it has materialized. And before I begin this lecture or I start lecture, I have to start with expressing my gratitude to my teachers, Ms. Dastur, Ms. Kapadia, late Professor Shahani, Professor Bharti Belare, ex-Dean of MUHS, Hutokshi Writer, present Dean, Rajeshri Naik, my HODs, Amita Mehta, present HOD, Saraswati Iyer, Dean and Directors of our institute, Dr. Nilima Shirsagar, Dr. Oak, Dr. Supe, Dr. Heman Deshmukh, the entire FAMER faculty, my late parents, and it would be unfair if I don't thank my husband Suhas Matre and my son Siddesh Matre for their constant support and encouragement, and above all, the students and the patients, because without them, I don't think we can take any lecture. Thank you. Okay, so what in this webinar, in this session, what I'm going to do today is that we all know that paper setting is a challenging job, and we are all giving justice to the best of our abilities to this task. What I'm going to do is just add a finesse so that we improve our students' performance, because assessment is all about improving our main objective or the course curriculum objective, that is making our students independent to practice in the society as physical therapists. Okay, so the objectives of the sessions today would be, in brief, I would be discussing the problems faced by the paper setter and the students, revising guidelines in setting the question papers. We are all aware of this. This is very important. Various steps of question paper construction, and be able to construct a question paper that will achieve the purpose of assessment, that is goals and objectives of the curriculum. The most important thing is the desired competency level of the students are reached. Now, first to begin with, what are the problems that are faced by the paper setter? There are 4 areas that we can consider. The first main important one is the syllabus. The syllabus is vast and therefore it is difficult to cover all topics. Secondly, there is vagueness. Sometimes we wonder whether this should have been a UG part of the UG syllabus, or is it a part of a PG syllabus. Must know, desirable to know, nice to know is not marked in our syllabus. So there are certain things. However, the positive thing about our syllabus is that though the marks are not allotted topic wise, how much weightage to give per topic, we have the hours that are allocated, and we can make use of those hours that are allocated during doing construction of our question paper. The third is relevance. The papers that we set should always meet the geographic needs of our country or the place that we are. I think our syllabus caters to the urban India, caters to the urban rural India. It also caters to rural India, but we need still to improve. And I think community health subject has a scope to improve in this area. The next thing that we face is the reference based. That means whether the question papers, question banks are available to us or not. Model answers, marking scheme. We don't want to take the trouble to do this. It was made compulsory first. It was introduced in our university, but however, it was opposed by all the teachers and that has been gone. But this is very, very important to bring about uniformity of marking system, because number of teachers across the states are correcting the papers. But the university gives us a very good instruction booklet, so there's no problem regarding that. Sometimes it doesn't give good instruction, proper instruction, but I think now it is all formalized. Time, the time allotted to question paper. Sometimes university gives you a phone call and tells us that please set the question paper in 2 days. Otherwise, I think we have at least minimum of 1 week. So time is not a problem with our university. Technology can be a problem because now with online paper setting, maybe the newer lecturers, the newer assistant professors may have some problem, but again, it has a positive effect can be used because they are all techno savvy people. So these are the problems that can be encountered by the paper setter. And what are the problems that are faced by the students? One is the nature of the question paper. The paper may be very lengthy and it is difficult to finish in the time allocated. And if you set an odd question, then again, it is not only detrimental to the lower achievers, but also to higher achievers, because 1 mark, they will lose the distinction. 1 mark, the low achievers cannot pass. So it is essential that the odd questions are not set in the paper. Third is failure of examination. One failure leads to another depression. So we need to take care while setting paper that all the levels of cognition are covered in our question papers. Now, what are the guidelines that we need to understand in setting a question paper? The question paper has to be designed with primary course objectives. I think it is well designed when the question paper is there, the design of the question paper, instructions to the students, time allocated, FAQs. Nowadays it comes all printed. You just have to type questions and design. Okay. The question should cover all materials from all the components of the course, whether it is lectures, it is textbooks, whether it is clinics, practicals, anyway. No students can complain that this was not taken to us, because somewhere or the other we are taking these things. The next is the content. We should take care that majority of the prescribed syllabus should be covered. Importance of each area and the time allotted is very important for the question papers when we talk about the time, and again reflects the health needs of the region. Question should not be difficult, drastic change is undesirable, and balance between recall, understanding and problem solving ability of the students should be considered. It is found that if you set a question paper with only recall questions, then the students will not take effort to understand the concept. And therefore, it is necessary that our question papers that we set are with an understanding, and the level of learning should be based on the understanding and the problem solving ability of the students. Because come what may, it is reported in literature that students learn, prepare only by question papers. So we need to push them to the wall so that they develop the ability to understand the concept rather than doing a rote learning. Okay, layout, again, the university, our university meets the criteria of laying out of the paper. Clear instructions are given, marks are given, the time is also allotted as 3 hours. Okay, the next thing that we have to consider is sentence formation and language, which we'll be talking about this. I will talk in detail in few minutes from now during the steps. Okay, now next is the steps of question paper construction. This is the most important thing that we have to remember, that how we construct. First is we have to prepare the design of the question paper. Okay, now the design of the question paper is already told to us as the university, right? We don't have MCQs, we have all supply questions. We have SAQs of 3 marks, LAQs of 7 marks, and we have problem solving questions. Again, they are also LAQs of 15 marks, right? So the designing of the paper is already given. How the marks are allotted is also given to us by the university. Problem solving question, that is 15 marks question, is also told. If the marks should be given as 3, 5 and 7. Okay, so the questions, the elements of the question should be taken into consideration. This is very important. If you want majority of your syllabus to be covered, then it is essential that you make a blueprint. What is a blueprint? Blueprint is nothing but the process of starting the assessment. Okay, it's a three-dimensional chart showing the question paper in terms of the placement of questions. That means whether it is an SAQ, LAQ, or a SAQ or LAQ, or it's an MCQ. Area of syllabus covered, okay, and the weightage given to that, and the level of learning. Level of learning again is whether it's a recall, understanding, or problem solving. And then once you have a blueprint, you prepare the question based on the blueprint. Most of the universities are having these blueprints, are making compulsory, and I request this present board of studies also that are every subject we should have a blueprint of question paper. I have a model question paper, I have prepared a model blueprint for third year question paper of functional diagnosis and physical therapeutic skills. If you see, you write the subject on one side, you write the marks allocated, and you have the duration. So that's your design of the paper that is there. Then you make columns. What is important, as we said, what are the objectives? Objectives in terms of learning, objectives in terms of the content of the syllabus. Okay, so you can see on the top column you have objectives and you have the learning learning outputs, which are recall, understanding, and problem solving. The contents as per the syllabus. I have not taken the breakup of each topic. I think this is more than suffice to have a blueprint where this paper of functional diagnosis has 4 sections. The first section, and that is what is written in that, and then the figures to the right of each section denotes the didactic hours and the practical stroke clinical hours given to that each section. And then in line with the contents, you have the LAQ of 15 marks, LAQ of 7 marks, and the SAQ of 3 marks. They always say that when you start framing your question paper, questions for your question paper, you should start with an LAQ. Okay. Okay, so the time allotted for the section 1, which is on ICF, is the didactic 5 hours. The next is the MCQ, the musculoskeletal section, the evaluation and manipulative skills, which have 40 didactic hours and 140. So 180 hours are given. Similarly, if you see section 4, neurotherapeutic evaluation and electrodiagnosis, also have 50 and 130. So 180 is given. So whereas the cardiorespiratory and the related cardiovascular and respiratory evaluation plus related skills are 95. Okay, so more weightage is given to our syllabus to the musculoskeletal because we have manipulative skills here, and with electro we have electrodiagnosis. Okay, so more these things are given to that. So depending on this weightage, because the marks are not allocated per topic wise, I have prepared this blueprint. Now the first blueprint is that if you see down, there is a summary. There's a type of questions. LAQ, the color coding is there. LAQ is black in color. LAQ 15 marks. LAQ 7 marks is green in color, and LAQ and SAQ 3 marks is blue in color. Okay, so the same things are put on the on this blueprint. Sorry. We have 4 questions to be prepared. Now coming to the 15 marks question, we have 4 questions to be prepared. Okay. So there is an optional. Now I have put black colors half and half. So what I have divided is each section, since the didactic hours are more, I have put one, if you see in this, how do I collapse this so that I get a better? If you see this 15 mark question, can you see the MSK section? The marks, there is a bracket. and there is an asterisk, and there's one figure which is outside the bracket. The figure outside the bracket denotes the mark. Okay, and inside tells you about question, how many questions that you're going to do is one question. So if I have decided to have one 15 marks question on the LAQ of 15 marks, I can divide that, because the university syllabus says that your question should be divided into 3 plus 5 plus 7. Okay, so one I have given is I can put 3 marks question as a recall method. You can put 5 marks as understanding of any concept that we are setting the questions with respect to the question, and 7 marks can be given to the problem solving ability of the students. So the student, if you go to see if the problem solving skill he doesn't have, at least if he has understood, he has a scope to score marks in 5, and recall, provided his anatomy, biomechanics and all are good, he will definitely score 3 marks on the recall basis. Okay, so then you make your, excuse me for that, there's an exclamation mark, it should have been 15 in the total. Okay, similarly, if you see, I have again put up for the neuro is also similar, 3 marks for the recall, 5 marks for the understanding, and 7 marks for the problem solving, 15 marks. Okay, similarly, there is one in red, cardiovascular, which is given as the same pattern, that one question of 15 marks will be broken, 3 marks will be given for the recall learning outcome, 5 marks will be given for concept understanding, and 7 marks can be given for problem solving. Okay, now the 4th question. Now, so we have given justice to all the 3 areas. There's always an option. Okay, so that is 1 out of 2, question 3, and question 4 is also 1 out of 2. And that's why the 2 option ones, I have put it in red color. So the 4th option I have given with the neuro. Now, when we think of framing a question of the 4th, we can have something like Parkinson's, where the musculoskeletal system also comes into picture, and the cardiovascular respiratory system also comes into picture. Or you can have any question relating to the inflammatory condition like the rheumatoid arthritis and ankylosing spondylitis, where again all the 3 questions are coming. Okay, please don't get this thing biased for putting. It's not a must, though I have said that cardiovascular and the second neuro is for option. Anybody can play with these things. You can make a musculoskeletal with neuro option. You can make cardiorespiratory with the other question answered. So we are covering now here the majority of the topics would be covered in the LAQ, because this is all big questions. Okay, so that finishes with the LAQ of 15 marks. Coming to again now the 7 marks question. Either again the 7 marks questions can be a recall question, or you can have elements of questions where you can combine understanding with problem solving. You can combine recall with understanding. Okay, so all the 7 mark questions are LAQ types. Okay, LAQ. So we need, there's again an option. So there are 6 questions, and all the optional questions I have put in, I have given the color coding as red. So 5 are compulsory, 1 is optional. Okay, because otherwise what happens, the total on this side does not match to 80 if I keep on adding 6 questions. Whereas we have to give marks only for our students have to appear only 5 out of 6. Okay, so the first question that I have given, since ICF is an important component, we can give a recall, where we can just say that describe all the components of ICF with, or state all the components of ICF with the definition. So this is all recall. There's no understanding in that. Or we can put in an understanding form that how can you use the framework of ICF for construction of, for making a physical therapy diagnosis. Okay, so this is only one question of ICF. You can either have, that's what I'm trying to make you understand. I hope I'm getting through everybody. Okay, the next question that I have put is of musculoskeletal section. If you see this green color, One I have put as problem solving. The second question of musculoskeletal is a mix of understanding and the problem solving ability of the patient, of the student, sorry. Okay, so I have given one of ICF, two from the musculoskeletal section. Again, if you see, cardiovascular can be either recall or it can be from the recall, or it can be totally a problem solving. Similarly, neuro, if you see all the green marks, I have put 3 marks. Sorry, this is of the recall 3 marks, and it can be 4 marks can be given for the understanding component of the question. Now, how to frame these questions, we'll talk about a little later. So when you have a blueprint like this, you can almost cover all, at least 80% of your syllabus will be covered if you have this blueprint for every subject. And there is no bias, because you will see, as we have said in my future further slides, what happens to our question papers when we set. Similarly, the recall 3 marks question, which is done in blue coding. It could be ICF can be a 3 marks question, which can be just recall. Just we can ask them a definition of structural impairments and functional impairments, or define disability. Simple questions we can ask in recall. The second again I have put one optional. I have put one in the area of understanding, and the second one in the area of problem solving. Similarly, with cardiorespiratory, one in recall, one in understanding. You can play with this. I'm not just saying that, but we need to define once the board of studies and have this blueprint for all the subjects, so that it's very clear, and students also they'll be, when question papers is set, it is uniform, and students are also aware of this, what is going to be asked and how they should study for their question papers. I hope I'm clear with this blueprint. Has everybody understood the blueprint? Any difficulty? Should I go ahead?
Yes, madam, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, now if you see this, just hold on. Okay, all these question papers are functional diagnosis. Third year I have taken because that's an important year. Physical therapy diagnosis is supposed to be expected in the third year. We have to develop our mastery. So all the 3 papers, now the next 3 slides that you will see are the papers from 17, 18 and 19 university summer papers. Okay, if you see in this LAQs in these papers, okay, question 3 has ankylosing. The question 3 has ankylosing spondylitis, hemiparesis with hypertension and diabetes mellitus. So now we have to assess this question with question paper with respect to placement of questions of 15 marks, whether they are the levels of learnings have been considered, and whether there is uniformity. I mean, all the topics or all the contents have been given due credit. Okay, so first one is ankylosing, the second one is optional. When there's a slash, that's an optional. Question 3, hemiparesis with diabetes mellitus and hypertension. Question 4 is breathlessness in winter and rainy season. There is no diagnosis that is given, slash pneumonectomy. Now, if you see this question paper has 2 of cardiorespiratory, 1 of inflammatory condition and 1 of neuro. So both cardiorespiratory conditions if we give, then we are not giving enough justice to the, our question papers. Okay, so the topics that we are covering is not getting matched. Okay, next I would like to point out, which we will discuss this thing. If you see the questions that are asked, okay, discuss assessment and impairment along with functioning and disability.
It's back.
Hello everyone. There's been a slight network issue. We'll be starting back again. Please wait.
Either this or that. Two, na? मला पाणी दे ना. So थांब जरा.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, can you see now? 1 minute.
No, ma'am.
Can you? No?
No, no. Your voice is coming, but not your video.
Abhi?
Switch on your
Abhi
camera.
slide share.
We can see your desktop. Yes, now it's visible.
Was I here?
Yeah, yeah. Now we can see you.
Now you can see. Okay. My apologies
Yes.
to all of you. But both the dongle also was there, and somehow your network technology can fail anytime. Anyway, I'm going closer to this. Now considering now what here we are talking about with this the last slide was with respect to blueprinting. So now these third year question papers which I have, the next three slides will show third year question papers of functional diagnosis and physiotherapeutic skills. We have taken the problem solving questions and we are going to assess with respect to the topics whether the contents are covered adequately in this long question paper. The level of learning and the placement of question papers is already there. So basically we will be talking about the level of learning and whether the content area is covered. If you see this question, it has the question number 3. There is a question on ankylosing spondylitis, and the second one is the hemiparesis with hypertension and diabetes mellitus. Okay, so there's a choice between the two. The question 4 is breathlessness in winter without a diagnosis and pneumonectomy. So both of them are respiratory questions. It's not also one cardio and one renal. Okay, plus cardiorespiratory section has only 95 hours. So both the questions cannot be from that section if we have to cover the entire syllabus. Okay. Also, I would like to bring the level of learning. The questions that have been asked here are discuss assessment, impairments along with functioning and disability in ICF framework. One, it is testing more of the problem solving without any consideration given for recall or understanding. More of understanding, I would say, and problem solving. Plus, if you see the framing of questions, the assessment and impairments along with functioning and disability. Okay, so I mean, I would say that if we are saying assessment, it includes the entire spectrum of ICF, whether it is the two components, the body functioning and the environment, the contextual factors, right? Body structures and functioning part. And so the question framing also needs to be a little better. Here again, the third one, if you see, discuss impairment, activity start / participation along with contextual factors using ICF. Okay, if you see the question, the stems that has been given to this, will go a little into detail. If I show here, if I read out to you, it's with respect to the functioning and disability impairments. We'll come to it later when we talk about framing the question papers. But here, when you use the word discuss, it is going more into a problem solving rather than the recall or understanding. So it is really difficult for the students. This could be easier for the students with high achievers, but would be very difficult for scoring in the marks. Besides, when we have questions like that, and the entire papers are corrected by different teachers, everybody has their own perspective. So if we have one language, that will help for the students as well, student scoring and hence their performance, learning performance together. Okay. The next slide again is on LAQs. Same thing. This question 3 has fracture shaft femur, fracture shaft humerus, and the choice given is hemiplegia. The next is asthma with pain, tingling, numbness with diabetes mellitus. Again, no diagnosis that is given. We need to give medical diagnosis to our students. We cannot just give with the symptoms. If it is symptoms, then low back pain can be a symptom which is regularly now also been given as a low back pain, and shoulder pain is coming as symptom rather than the disease or the fracture or any condition. So there is a need to give. So here again, we don't know what was the diagnosis, whether it was just diabetes mellitus giving rise to pain and tingling numbness, or whether it was a neurological case giving rise to tingling numbness in the left hand. So that when we write questions, the framing needs to be taken into consideration. Here, the questions are a little better. If you go to see, this is enlist the impairments. So enlist impairments with clinical reasoning. Now, clinical reasoning is again problem solving. Okay, but it's okay. The second is describe activities and participation and mention the contextual factors. So this is more or less in a right way framing, but it still requires to be framed. And clinical reasoning, if we are asking, then what is the marks allocated, have to be also seen. Now, this marks are also given with respect to 7, 5, and 3. So this is in accordance with what the university has given. And the framing of question, I would say, is much better than what we saw in the previous question paper. Going to the third question paper again. One is rheumatoid arthritis. Second one is hemiarthroplasty with diabetes mellitus, hypertension, and obesity. But why the hemiarthroplasty is being done has not been mentioned, because definitely the impairments will be different if hemiarthroplasty is done for a fracture, hemiarthroplasty is done for a degenerative arthritis. So diagnosis has to be there, diagnosis needs to be mentioned. And here it is spastic diplegia with fracture L1. I think this covers, now there is no question with respect to cardiovascular and respiratory. You saw there the first two had too many cardiovascular, I mean both the mainly respiratory, not even cardiac and one respiratory. So we have to see that if we have a blueprint, then, and we have said that one question of 15 marks has to be from musculoskeletal section, one from neuro and one from cardio, and the fourth can be where all the three systems are involved. Then it will be your you have a scope to cover maximum amount of syllabus in your question paper. Okay. Okay, now this is the blueprint which I would make. This is for when I am doing blueprint. If I was a question paper, I was a paper setter for this question, for this paper, for this subject. Okay, I would put one pollicis fracture which covers the musculoskeletal section. Secondly would be bronchial asthma. There's a choice which covers the cardiovascular and respiratory section. In question number 4, I have put hemiparesis, where the musculoskeletal, sorry, the neuromuscular section has been covered. And then there is rheumatoid arthritis, which is an inflammatory condition, which will involve eventually all the three systems, or not three, but at least two systems. Okay, all the systems. So have something like this, where we are sure that topics would be covered, the content area. If I were to put a question marks, I would write, if it's a problem, so it's a question is problem solving. So my 3 marks, I would write, list all the functional impairments and the structural source for the functional impairments. So if I'm listing the functional impairments, it's 3 marks because it's very easy. We have to give it into the stem of our question paper. 5 marks I have given because we are talking about finding the structural source for the functional impairments. That means what we are doing here, we are using understanding. We are doing the structural differentiation. So understanding the concept of what is the structure responsible for that functional impairment is we are taking into consideration. So it would be 3 marks plus 5 marks. Or I could give discuss disability, where again it would be this. When we talk about disability in ICF framework, it is impairments, activity limitation, and participation restriction. So for activity limitation and participations, I would give 3 marks, and 5 marks would be for the structural and functional impairment, because that is where we need to develop our, it requires understanding of the concept and then the application to the problem. Okay. Or if I have to have a recall, I would say enumerate activity limitation for this patient, because activity limitations are something that the patient tells us. So we have to write it in our stem of the question paper. So, and then it's easy for them. So we understand whether the concept of activity limitation has been understood by them. And that's a recall method that comes, because every joint or every condition would have an activity limitation. Okay. So, for example, a patient with an OA would have an activity limitation of climbing up and down the stairs, squatting, walking. Okay, so that is specific for OA or lower extremity function. So these are very easy to recall. So they get 3 marks over there. Then I would say state the functional impairment for his activity limitation. That means if the patient is not able to, if an OA patient is not able to squat, then the functional activity would be, functional limitations would be, one is the pain, second would be swelling, and third would be muscle weakness, the most common, or restricted range of motion or deformity. Now all these factors, it is essential if they, to give it to fit so that the patient thinks, sorry, the student thinks to implement, to write it in the question answer booklet. Okay, so this would be 5 marks. So depending, he analyzes. In second year, we have activities kinetics and kinematics of activities. So this is now the application of what they have learned of activities, kinetics and kinematics of second year of sit to stand or squatting, which they have to apply over here, along with some symptoms like pain and swelling. So those goes into the functional impairments. So I would give them, again, this is an understanding concept. So I would give five marks. And the 7-mark question, again, I can break it up into 4 and 3. Describes patient's capacity in spite of disability. Okay, so there the capacity of the patient I have asked in spite of disability. When we talk of capacity, we are talking with respect to the patient's ability to perform an activity or participate in society in spite of the disability. So that's again a straightforward, but it does require application. So I would put 4 marks for that and state, apologies for the typographical mistake, and state environmental factors that can be the facilitator or barrier. So 3 marks for that, where environmental factors, I have not asked contextual factors. So I have asked only the environmental aspect. I can be specific and say the physical environmental. So then it just becomes the physical aspect, because environmental factors are again social and attitudinal over there. So, but it's marked of 3. So even I have made a mistake in asking them, because 3 marks are too much if they have to list all the contextual environmental factors, physical aspect, the social as well as attitudinal. Okay, so a little thought process has to be involved when we are giving this, when we are setting the question, not only the paper, but also the questions. So the questions, if you see, I have broken them into elements, not made a strong question, one big long stem of questions. So it's easier, and the marking schemes are easier to apply. Now, this is a big question. Now, if you see the stem, this is basically for the stem that I have put, is Raghavan, 40-year-old head clerk by occupation, has been referred to physiotherapy department with a medical diagnosis of prolapse intervertebral disc at L4, L5 level and treated conservatively for 8 weeks. His MRI investigation shows affection of the exitive nerve root and traversing roots are all spared. At present, his chief complaints are difficulty in walking, ascending and descending stairs, and inability to squat, and hence activities related to his personal hygiene. His wife is working in a school, is a teacher, and has one son studying 9th standard. He has to resume his duties after a month. His work timings are from 9 to 5. His fear is whether he will be able to travel to office to rickshaw, which is 10 minutes from his home, and be able to resume for the desk job. Also climb 1 floor where his office is situated. His friends at workplace have assured him of all the help required. If you see, the first part of my questions is basically talking about the disability, that is structural impairments, functional impairments, activity limitation, and participation. And the second part of my question that is set is talking about the contextual factors. Okay, with respect to that, the framing of the questions which I have done is enumerate only 2 main structural impairments responsible for the above mentioned difficulty in ADL and describe his gait mechanics at the ankle only. See, everybody is opined to give a critical appraisal of these questions that I have framed. I would be more than happy, because the more you get a negative feedback or appraisal, you can, that's the scope for improving your next lecture. Okay, so please don't hesitate and write down and send me if there are mistakes on this part, if you feel that this should not be asked. Okay, now only 2 main structural impairment for his activities of daily living. Now what is that he has to understand? This is more of understanding concept, his level of learning, because what are the activities of living? This thing what I have put is difficulty in walking, ascending, descending stairs, inability to squat. Okay, what are the impairments? The MRI findings have shown that L4, L5, there is a prolapse intervertebral disc. At L4 and L5, the exiting root, okay, which I have written is affected. Now this is a recall. which we have learned in anatomy, the exiting route is L4, which is affected. L4 route supplies which muscle? The myotome. It's mainly the ankle dorsiflexors, along with quadriceps, your glute med and glute max. It's a L4, L5, S1. So he has to put, there is a recall and there is an understanding component. But again, this is very difficult for the students. So I've put only 3 marks. When you say structural impairment, what I meant is the L4 nerve root and supplying all the muscles with an L4 myotome. That is all that I expect. 1 mark is put, his gait mechanics at the ankle, because the dorsiflexion is going to be affected, because the myotome is mainly with the dorsiflexors, tibialis anterior. So during the gait, what we are going to have, again, this is a recall of the second year. If dorsiflexors are weakness, you have a high steppage gait with a foot flat. Okay, that is all what is expected in this. But this is specific to what the patient will come to. Second question of 5 marks I have written, enumerate all extremity muscles which could be possible for his source of activity limitation. Okay, here again the muscles would be your quadriceps, your names of the muscles, and gluteus medius, gluteus maximus, quadriceps, tibialis anterior, all with the L4, and which can be the source for his activity limitations. Explain how contextual factors will affect his capacity to function. If you see this patient, he has a back pain, he's a head clamp. So his hands are working to operate the computer, he has the capacity to work, but his participation would be restricted because of the travel. 1 floor because of the weakness, he's traveling by rickshaw. So all these things have to be, all these things I have been asked in these questions where they are supposed to put into the contextual factors as facilitators and barriers. Okay, the fear is also there. So the personal, the bio-behavioral factor is also there. The personal factors are also affected here in this patient. So even if they make a mention of it, I give them marks because it is difficult to answer, but it is very specific. If they have worked in the clinics and attended all our lectures and read 2 books, Kistner and Norkins, they can answer all these questions. These questions are not out of the textbook at all. They are of the textbooks. It's only framed in a different way. Okay. Going to the next. Okay, now the next is now preparing questions on blueprint. A certain amount we have already discussed on that. It has to be as per the objective and the area of syllabus defined in the blueprint. Second, has to be appropriate as per the content cover, the type of question framed, the time and the marks allotted, and is at the desired level of difficulty. Okay, now SAQ 3, now this is also in one of the functional diagnosis paper of 2019. They have, the question is define Riobase chronaxine and enumerate factors affecting the same. I think this is a perfect question that is framed for a 3 marks. Level of this thing is recall. The same paper 2018 has 3 postural reflexes for a 3 marks. Now postural reflexes is a vast thing. What postural reflexes are going to be there? There's going to be a differences of opinions between all the teachers. Is it the writing reflexes that we want? Is it writing and equilibrium reactions that we want? What is it we want? So the framing of question is not there. So if you want to frame a question of 3 marks, maybe it can be done with state the importance of postural reflexes with examples. Okay, so that can be gone as an understanding. Or you name what you want. Do you want reflexes from the writing reactions or from the equilibrium reflexes? You want define neck labyrinthine reflex? Because it's for 3 marks, if you just say 3 postural reflexes, the students are left, and definitely there's going to be differences in scoring, in giving marks by the teachers. Because what I think is going to be different from the other teachers. And neuro people would expect more in detail. For me, he has written the name and the definition, I would give 3 marks. But a person who's into neuro might think, no, this much has to be written. So we have to be very specific. The question frames are very nice because postural reflex is very important part of our syllabus in neuro musculo, cardio, everywhere. But the framing is the topic, the way they have considered is very good. However, the framing of the question with respect to 3 marks is very important. I always tell my students that we have 80 marks and we have 3 hours. So if you divide between section A and section B, we can't have equal amount of time because one is 50 marks, one is 30 marks. So maybe you can give 1 hour to section B and the other 2 hours can be for section A, where you can have 5 minutes for each question of 3 marks. So you have about 30 minutes because thinking is also required. 5 3s are 15 is 30 minutes. Second, 7 into 5. So 10 minutes minimum for this. So again, it's 60. So it's 1.5 hours. And then you're thinking, you are framing, you're constructing. So a lot of time is given. Okay, so we have to see that whether we are able to write this question of postural reflexes of 3 marks in 5 minutes, which is difficult because it does not specify. So very important to say that the desired level of difficulty has to be mentioned. Okay. If I have to give a 3 marks question, which is in the problem solving area, then I would write it as state with reasons which scapular muscles require physiotherapy intervention when observation of the scapular posture, medial and inferior, medial border and inferior angle are seen prominent, and the spine of the scapula is horizontal. Okay, I would frame the problem solving question like this, where we need is the serratus anterior because it is downwardly rotated. This is again application of second year knowledge. If medial border prominent, excessive medial rotation, inferior angle prominent, excessive anterior rotation, spine of the scapula horizontal, downward rotation, which is the muscle that requires intervention, is all they have to just explain. So that is they have to give a justification to that answer where it is serratus anterior. So it's a 3 mark question, and problem solving you don't expect more than, because there's a lot of thinking process. If they are able to justify, it's fine. Okay. The third thing is we have to remember that the language used is clear, correct, and precise language. That is what we have been discussing all the time. This is the question that is picked up from 7 marks question, a gait deviation due to musculoskeletal dysfunction. Now again, this covers a vast area. What is the student expected in writing about 10 to 12 minutes? If you have to be specific, you can describe gait deviation due to musculoskeletal impairments. Again, this impairments also for me, it is too much because impairment pain, impairment because of muscle weakness, because of range of motion restriction, and because of deformities. Okay, so still we need to improvise on this question where we need specificity. Third, it has to clearly defines the scope of the answer. If you have, this is again LAQ of 7 marks, electrodiagnostic test. Okay, what is the student expected to write? Now electrodiagnosis covers a vast area, and plus it is test, it is not also test. Okay, so if they write just one test, whether I would interpret one test for 7 marks is too much, too less, whereas the other teacher might consider one test and this thing, because it doesn't mention anything. There's nothing beginning of the sentence or ending of that question. Electrodiagnostic, if you go to consider test, I would talk from SDCs to EMGs to nerve condition to FAF to H reflex. We can be specific. So we can just discuss EMG and nerve conduction studies to be done in peripheral nerve injuries. Okay, so we are talking about EMGs at rest, insertional activities at rest, minimal movement and maximal effort, and nerve injuries which are for EMG nerve conduction studies, which would be sensory and motor. So 7 marks questions they could put into it, and a breakage of this, if I had to give marks division, I would put 3 and 4. Okay, depending on which is better, EMG I'm expecting more or whether I'm expecting nerve energy. So I have broken that question into different elements. It's essential one is that now all the time we are talking about the language. Also, there are specific words that we have to use when we are expecting the level of learning, whether it is an SAQ, whether it is an problem solving, or whether it is an understanding. When you frame an SAQ, we start with either define, enumerate, list, identify, state, etc. You know, very specific questions that we are asking. If you are asking LAQ, it can be describe, compare, contrast, explain, discuss, interpret, design, develop, state reason, pros and cons. There's a lot of literature on what verbs to use for essay questions on the net. I think we can go through it and just listen with an explanation given for it. Okay. When you use a problem solving, then you use the words like evaluating, evaluate, justify, analyze. Please do not use what do you think, what to do, what is your opinion, write all about. This is not the questions that we have to use. This is not the language. So we have to be very specific with respect to the operative verbs that we use while framing the questions. Okay. Now, this is again third BPTH, and we are talking about SAQ questions. Here, if you see the questions, okay, everything has described. Now, there are 3 questions with 3-mark questions with describe used in it. 2 questions are inappropriately formed. 1 question is defined, which is perfect. If you see the LAQs, you have 4 questions from the neuro sections and 2 from cardiovascular and respiratory section. Okay, so all except 1 is inappropriately framed. Okay, explain the motor strategies is appropriately framed. Describe H reflex. Sorry, all except 1 is inappropriately. The questions are very nice, except the abnormal breath sounds, which does not have an operative verb. Okay, all of them, all except 1 is sorry, for this there's a typographical mistake. All questions are appropriately, except 1 is inappropriately framed, that is the breath sounds. But what I would say here, that the topics covered are not given due justice. There's not a single question which talks about musculoskeletal, which has more weightage, as equal weightage as the neuro section. Okay. Now, the questions that are framed, they are either the selection type, where we used to have first like MCQs, matching response, single-based response, true or false. Now our papers do not have that. Our questions are all supply types, which are called, where the students create and supply their answers. Okay, so a lot of creation and practice is required when they answer. So a question paper should be framed so that when they train for learning outcomes, they also understand the questions and frame the answers. So we are training them right from the beginning in the formative examination, that is the internal assessment. Okay, the next is assembling the question papers. This is the next step that we have in the question paper. That's quite simple, because once we have all the questions, we will put it in LAQ section, SAQ section, and the problem solving. Preparing the scoring key and the marking key. I don't know whether this is very essential and it is necessary to ensure consistency and uniformity of scoring by different examiners. I would request the Board of Studies, but I think it was resisted by all the teachers of Maharashtra, so I don't think we will be able to achieve, but if we can still do it. After forming, we still need to refine the question papers. You again refine the question paper, you again edit, go through it. As I said, that 1-2 questions which I have found also needed auto corrections. You moderate yourself. Then there is a preparing a question wise analysis, which is called an item card. Okay, now this also we don't do, where you have the question number written, whether what type of question it is, LAQ, SAQ, what is the content area, what is the objective, what are the marks allotted, then difficulty index that we are expected, and then there is items about the question, so elements. So have you broken the questions into 2-3 elements? Second is the model answer is there or not, and what are the important, if not the model answer, at least what are the important points that we as an examiner are expected from the students. And the last this thing is submitting the question paper. Okay, so if I have to conclude, paper setting is a responsible job and should be taken seriously. A reliable and valid question paper can meaningfully enhance the learning experience towards better student outcome. As George Miller had said, it was the examination system rather than the educational objectives, curriculum organization, or instructional techniques that has the profound impact upon the student learning. Okay, now we have a few exercises to be done. Okay. Can we have it as an this thing, or this is now a 4th year question papers that I have put it on the screen. Suvarna, hello, Suvarna or Neha, can we have this as a activity for the participants?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you see this, this is a 4th BPTH 2017 musculoskeletal paper. If you consider like your short answer questions, which are any 5 out of 6, does anyone want to say that with respect to first would be the area content that is covered? Is this appropriate? You can respond on chat. 1 minute we can give them. How long do I have to, how long is the time left? Neha, can you tell me?
Ma'am, it's already extended. It's already extended. If we can
lost
answer, that would be better.
Sorry?
No, you can continue. You can continue.
Okay. For how long? So then I will skip the papers in between. Hello? Suvarna?
Ma'am, just finish your remaining slides.
Okay, that's okay. The last, okay, I'll skip this first, and I've just put, I want to, this is the 4th BPTH musculoskeletal conditions LAQ question, which I picked up a few questions from the prelims and the terminals that we have in our institute. If you see the stem over here, it says Radhabai, 50 years, female, right dominant, cook by occupation, a known case of diabetes mellitus, controlled with medicine, referred to the PT-OPD with chief complaints of pain and difficulty in movements of the shoulder joint complex. Okay. Now here again, I have not given a disease because patients are referred with shoulder pain also has become like a low back pain. Okay. So they refer like that. But we can have since we are movement science therapists and we are concerned with the diagnosis with regards to movement science, we can do our examination and have our own questions. Okay. On examination, a symptom of pain are on the anterior aspect of the glenohumeral joint since 3 months and is insidious on onset. Pain on VS is 0 at rest and 5 on activities related to use of shoulder activities, especially hand behind the head and hand behind back. Joint reactivity and irritability for both these functional movements is low. She also has complaints of pain on anterolateral aspect of the glenohumeral joint while draping her sari and is rated as 7 on VAS since a week. She has stopped going to work since a week. She is married with 2 girls and her socio-economic status is fair. Okay, again, if you see, the first part is mainly towards the disability component, and the next part is with the contextual this thing. The questions that I've had is very specific. Identify the basic activity limitations. With basically, when you talk about activity limitation, only basic, I have been very specific, activities of daily living from the information given above. I don't want the students to imagine and just form their own hypothesis. Okay, so the functional movements are already stated, hand behind head and hand behind back. So when the functional movements are stated, hand behind head, that means your dressing is affected. Dressing includes combing hair, wearing blouse, wearing saris, upper body dressing, lower body, applying makeup, everything. So they have to be specific with respect to the dressing activities. Hand behind back is also concerned with dressing and personal hygiene, because hand behind back is used for bathing as well as for personal hygiene of the during toilet care. Okay, so these are the basic activity limitations that are to be expected. It is from the recall question. Okay, the marks given are only 3. It's very scoring for the students to do that. So students should feel good that they are able to pick up specifically, instead of just writing functional diagnosis or with clinical reasoning or whatever we have seen before. Next question is, state the functional impairments related to her activity limitations and justify the possible structural impairments. Okay, that means the structural source for the functional impairment. If hand behind back, that means is affected or painful, then what are we saying? That the range of motion, the mobility that is affected is the movements of the shoulder complex are abduction, external rotation, and with hand behind back, it is adduction and internal rotation. So they are very specific. So when these movements are considered, are painful or are restricted, then your answers which will come will also be to improve these ranges. They have to be specific. They cannot generalize. Because if you see, and we all agree that the answers of BSc is relief of pain, relief of range of motion, relief of improvement in range of motion, improve muscle strength and weakness, functional independence. Prior to this, these are general names. They are not specific. So if we ask in our frame questions which are specific with respect to the structural functional impairment, the treatment also follows. They will write specific to those things. Okay, and the structural impairments, now if you see from the information given, hand behind back, that means abduction, external rotation, hemiplegia, the patient is diabetic, incidence onset, we think of adhesive capsulitis, where the structural impairment could be capsule. Okay, so that is how they will do the structural differentiation. As external rotation is restricted, okay, the patient ultimately what happens, the patient when he tries to do an external rotation causes impingement, because the capsule is there, the patient is going to push, he's going to the head of the humerus, is going to impinge with the coracoacromial arch every time he does that movement, going to further lead to impingement, giving rise to hand behind back, which is internal rotation. Okay, so when we teach, only we should consider, I think our teaching also should be based on the questions that we are framing. Just like the students learn from the question papers, we should also teach, we should have a question bank, and first of all critically appraise that question bank, and teaching also should be done with respect. So it is better, the learning outcomes would be better, and we would have better physical therapists. And the difference, as I said always, that how are we different from the other healthcare professionals who do functional training? Okay, and that's why I request the Board of Studies also, if we can change this topic, this paper's name from functional diagnosis to physical therapy diagnosis, where we have our identity. It would be net, because according to me, function is restored by a lot of healthcare professionals, right from nursing to healthcare givers to many other professionals who can restore function. But we are different, and we have our potentials, our skill. It is all in our syllabus. We just have to make the best use of our skills. And I think we will do better in terms of, and then we will stand out differently from others. And I think the council, Maharashtra Council, is doing a great job. I appreciate Sudeep Kai and all his entire team for considering all the things of this. I also appreciate Suvarna, who's also in the present Board of Studies. Suvarna, I hope you're listening. Okay, to bring about a change in our little change, just refinement. I think otherwise our syllabus is extremely well defined. I would say only a little more of refinement is needed. Similarly, see, now this is the 4th year, so I have asked her justify her stage of tissue healing, because it is necessary. The stage of tissue healing will tell us what are the precautions and contraindications we need to take during our assessment and treatment, and state interventions for her symptom pain. So I've just asked her about pain. I've not asked her general. So she has to write for her 15 marks, her 7 marks only for pain, how she's going to get the exercise interventions, exercise therapeutic, manual therapy, electrotherapy. What is she going to get around with relief of pain? Because relief of pain is not just use of relief of ultrasound or EMS or the electrotherapy modalities. Okay, in her case, what will be correction of the scapular posture, improving the range of motion will itself will give her relief of pain. Okay, but now the abduction external, this thing is restricted, and if you are considering capsule, then what are the best modalities that are used for the connective tissue to improve range of motion? Okay, and these are, I don't know whether I have time to go through these SAQs which I have discussed, or should we stop? Suvarna?
No, you can go ahead. Madam?
This is what I have. This is the question paper of our MSK subject, PT in musculoskeletal of our institute. Okay, discuss the capacity and performance. Answer any 5 out of 6. After LAQs, I frame LAQs which are 7 marks. So if you see, there is one capacity and performance with ankle sprain. Second is modality used for knee joint for osteoarthritis, so knee. So 2 lower extremities are given. This again are framed with keeping in mind that the maximum weightage in the musculoskeletal suction that it does with the practical hours are given to traumatic conditions and degenerative condition. The next is the inflammatory and the deformities. So keeping that in mind, the questions are formed. So we have to see the weightage and then form the question. Then third, I have given different grades of Maitland mobilization techniques with respect to joint reactivity. Again, this is an application of the 3rd year knowledge that they are doing. So they know that if joint reactivity, that means that joint reactivity is low, that means the stage of tissue healing is 3. So they can give grade 3 and 4. So that is the type of thinking and understanding we need to cultivate in our students. Then another one is with respect to state all possible functional impairments due to increase in thoracic kyphosis and plan an exercise program. So impairments of thoracic cage, impairments of neck, and impairments of shoulder. All the 3 areas are covered in this question. Next, then the hand was left out. So I thought putting a prehensile, discuss possible functional impairments when prehensile activities in terms of power and precision grips are limited. Okay, so your power precisions, we are talking about 4 power, again a part of 2nd year application here in the 4th year. 4 power grips, 3 precision grips, and because of this, these are affected. So what are the kinematics and kinetics? So that gives rise to your, that is nothing but your functional impairments. Lumbopelvic rhythm, 1 spinal, and state all functional and structural impairments that can give rise to alteration in the rhythm. So these are 7 marks question. And then the next slide is with 3. Now this is mainly if you want state any 3 assessment to find the stage of tissue healing. Okay, so one is joint reactivity, one is irritability, and the third one is, this is an understanding with 3 marks, and the third one can be VAS, the pain rated on VAS by the patient. State different types of output pain mechanisms, because this is very important. We are not just finding the structural source, The next we need to find out the which will denote whether we want to use our electrotherapy modalities, do you want to use exercise, or do you want to take care of the biobehavioral factors, that is the personal contextual factors of the ICF column, will tell which dominant pain mechanism, whether it's input, the central processing, or whether it is an output. And output may we have 4. State any 2 features of radicular pain and referred pain. This is always confusing and they are always confused. So I put this question though of 3 marks. Now this is a little difficult question, but still they should know. Define end field and state any 3 pathological end fields of the knee joint. State any 3 tests to identify quadriceps as a source of symptom pain. State any 3 features of osteoarthritis of TM joint. Okay, because we always leave off TM joint. So I thought TM joint should be a part, and this is usually I put this question for prelim 3 marks. TM joint is always one, either in their formative assessment or in this final exams. TM joint has to come because we see a lot of patients with TM joint, most ignored, neglected area. Okay, I think with this, the questions, the interaction with the, I will stop here. Everybody can do an introspection and reflect on the question papers that you have with whatever a little bit of refinement that I have added to our skills that already exist. Okay, thank you everybody for patient listening. Any questions anybody wants to ask? Have you?
Suvarna ma'am.
Okay, there is one question. Madam, I have doubt in your blueprint. There is, can I say? Sorry. There is one question that has come in the chat. Okay, can I answer, Suvarna?
Yes, madam.
This is Vishnu Ganadi, sir. Madam, I have a doubt in your blueprint. There's a cholecyst/asthma and RA/hemiparesis. So student may solve both MSK topics, though RA involves all systems, but majority is MSK. So can't we put cholecyst/RA and asthma/hemiparesis? Because of students solves cholecyst and RA, his assessment of neuro and CVS knowledge can be done. I think it's an excellent suggestion. That's what I said. This is just an example. We can play with whatever we have in our system. Very good. I mean, I'm really happy that somebody has understood what we have. And I think that's an excellent suggestion, Dr. Vishnu. Anything else? Any questions further? Okay, Jaimala, madam, this is her comment. She agrees with the change of name of functional diagnosis paper to physiotherapy diagnosis. We should really think of it because that will give us an identity. Just as the medical diagnosis give identity to them, we should have our identity as physical therapy diagnosis. We are physical therapists and we are, I think, in terms of function, doing a lot for the society, more than the doctors.
So my suggestion would be that if madam could represent the same thing to the university, the things would be move little faster.
Okay, sure, definitely sure. This thing, I'll keep that in mind and I'll do it.
Yes.
Anybody, I mean, I would request all of you to give a feedback, and especially with respect to the critical appraisal, because that always has to be taken, that gives a scope for improvement. You can also WhatsApp me on my number if you have any queries or any differences. Otherwise, you can WhatsApp on the group itself. It is there. Any queries, I'm available to answer. Thank you, Suvarna, once again, and your entire team and the WC of for giving me the opportunity.
Most welcome, madam. Since there are no questions, I think we would end with it. But the basic aim of having this particular conversation, I wouldn't say webinar or workshop, it is just a basic conversation between the teachers, amongst the teachers. And this is necessary that the newer generation, the fresh teachers needs to understand these concepts. And in our day-to-day life, probably the senior teachers does not have much time, or maybe they're not able to interact with the junior teachers. So I thought that this is the right time when we can spend a little bit of our free time in just having an interaction amongst ourselves. So that is why this particular webinar was scheduled. So this was the first topic. So I really thank Bhavna Madam for having an illustrious presentation. And I can see that there are senior teachers in the attendees. So in case if any of the senior teacher would like to give their comment, they're free to do it. And if they feel that some other topic needs to be discussed like this, which was pending since a long time, is pending since 3-4 years. So probably we can take up few more topics and we can have a discussion with the teachers.
I hope, can I add, Suvarna, one sentence?
Yes,
I hope we see that change in this question paper in this university exam. That's a request to everybody.
I think before the university, that rule has to take place in the college level, institute level. I believe in our formative examinations, the teachers needs to understand these particular concepts and bring it into the routine, bring it at then only it will come in the university. Yeah, because we are taking workshops, but then it does not become a routine feature. So let's see how we can do it, whether at university level or at the college level. We'll see how can we do it.
Also, another request is to make a blueprint for each subject, which comes with the instruction booklets. So it is there on our, it is a part of our curriculum, of the syllabus.
Right.
Any help that is required, I'm ready to volunteer. I'm sure all the experts are there for other subjects. So everybody will do it. But we can come to consensus.
Right.
Thank you so much, ma'am. On behalf of IIPWC, I thank Mrs. Bhavna Matre, ma'am, for gracing the webinar. Rather, what Ganveer ma'am has said, it was an interactive session and sharing her important work and her opinion today on the mechanics of question paper setting. This is definitely going to help the attendees to look with a new perspective towards the subject. I thank Dr. Mrs. Suvarna Ganveer ma'am for giving her precious time and guidance regarding the topic and making it rather a more interactive session. I would like to take this opportunity to place on record my gratitude to the attendees who, in spite of their busy schedule, make it possible here. Lastly, I would like to thank the state team for their valuable guidance and efforts towards the successful completion of webinar, from the technical aspect to the motivational guidance. Once again, thank you everyone who spared the time from the busy schedule to grace the webinar and share their opinion. It's been great pleasure to be with you all. We would like to have your valuable feedbacks. The feedbacks from link will be shared in the chat box and WhatsApp group. You can share your feedbacks in the WhatsApp group too. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavna ma'am.
Thank you, Suvarna.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Bhavna.
Yeah. I want a feedback from all of you.